to the podcast. I'm so happy that you're here, and I'm so excited to dive into today's episode. If you're coming back to the podcast after listening to the trailer, I'm so happy that you're here, and thank you. I feel honored that you'd want to come back and listen to the upcoming episode. So let's dive in. So today's topic really holds a special place in my heart because surrendering, letting go has really been a life changer for me and is really what has led me to, where I am today in my life. So let's talk about what surrendering is, first of all. Like, what is that even? Surrendering is when you let go of your control over a certain situation and learn to trust that a higher power is taking care of it, that it's all going to be sorted out, and that you don't need to stress over the outcomes. You just let it be, and it honestly gives you so much more peace than trying to control things and trying to wonder what if this, what if that, and trying to do so much doing instead of being. And this is not to say that surrendering means that you should not take any actions. It just means that you can take inspired action. You can take action in the place of, I feel inspired to take this certain action, and then after that I'm going to trust that the action I took is good enough, and that I'm trusting that a higher power is taking care of everything else, and I can trust the outcomes. I can trust what's going to be. And this just gives you so much more peace rather than being in the energy of, I need to take this action because I feel like I need to, just because I need to. I'm stressing out, so I think I need to take all of these actions. And I understand where that comes from, because if you were used to, being productive and hustling all the time is what gives you results, it's really hard to get into the energy of let me just take the action and then just be. I understand where the energy comes from, but surrendering is all about just taking the inspired action and then letting it go, not stressing about the what ifs, not stressing about what the outcome is going to be, and just trusting that you are taken care of. So that is what surrendering is in a nutshell, and this is honestly what has changed my life for the better. So I want to give you some examples that have happened to me to show you just how powerful surrendering really is. So let's take you back. Let's take you back to my last breakup. So my last breakup, which was the end of a 7-year toxic relationship, and at the time, I obviously didn't do the healing work yet, and I was still in the era of, I didn't love myself. I had a lot of wounds, and after the breakup, I remember I was in this energy of this can't happen, and I could not accept it. And right away, I was trying to take actions. I remember calling my ex and being wanting to understand why he wanted to break up with me. And I remember journaling about these things and trying to understand myself, why is this happening to me? And it was really hard for me to, in that moment, to just look at the bigger picture and let go. I was very stuck on we've been together for this many years, how could this happen, and all those things. And I'm sure you're probably aware of this feeling of when something happens to you, you just want to understand the situation, and you want to just the thought of just letting go is not the first thought that comes to mind. You just want to figure things out. And so that was me. And it wasn't until I was trying to figure things out, trying to make things work, trying to ask all the questions and analyze things is not getting me anywhere. It's not giving me peace. And honestly, the only option that honestly brought me peace was to just let it all go. Let it all go and surrender and trust that this breakup happened for a reason, and there's no sense in trying to take all the action that I think I need to do and just trying to control things, and just let it go. And so even if the future sounded scary to me, oh my gosh, I'm going to be single in my late 20s and I'm going to be alone and all of these things, I just let that go. And if you're in that point in your life where you're like, oh my gosh, like letting go sounds scary to me, like this changes a lot of things for me, like the future is going to look uncertain and all of these things, I want you to know that yes, it's going to be scary at first, but it's the breakthrough that is going to be amazing for you, and you're gonna see exactly why you had to go through that. You're going to see why all of the things that you were trying to do like didn't work. And so back to my story. Once I did the surrendering, once I did the letting go, like, and really poured the energy towards myself and like trying to bring my self-love up again and do my healing and become a better version of myself, that was when things really started to shift for me. I started to see life in a different way. I started to just feel more at peace at my life because no longer were things like in my control. Because if you notice, like when you're trying to take all the actions and when you're trying to like control and have your own plan, like make sure things are going according to your plan, things are more stressful, if you notice. And this is not to say like you can't plan, you can't have your own plans, but it's to say that plan and take your actions, but then let go of what the outcome will be. Like trust that the outcomes are going to be what they're going to be. So after that happened, after like I surrendered, there was no more having to deal with my toxic ex, and there was no more having to deal with the past, no more having to deal with an ex and all these things. And when I was ready again, I started to date. And this is where the next power of surrendering example comes. So I started to date again, and this is where all of my actions and wanting to like control the outcomes started to happen again. So I started to date, and I kept getting, bad dating experiences again and again. And I started to feel disappointed, and like I felt hopeless, and like, oh my gosh, like dating is hard and I'm never gonna find my person, and like this generation is like dating in this generation is hard and all of these things. And I just thought that I need to go on more dates, and like I started to get back into the feeling of like I need to do this to get this, and it wasn't until again I surrendered and I was like, you know what? I just need to stop going on these dates. I just need to like stop thinking I need to keep going on dates. I just need to like let go and like take a step back and find my peace again. And so that is exactly what I did. I stopped going on the dating apps. I stopped thinking I needed to like be like everywhere to meet someone. And I just let things play out as I should. I lived my life in flow. Like I lived my life as I usually would, but like without thinking like maybe I should go on a dating app, maybe I should do that. Completely removed those things and thought like, what do I need to do to make sure that I'm loving my life and everything is peaceful, and I trust that the right person is going to come to me. Like how would that look like? And so what that looked like for me at the time was just continuing to do my inner work, continuing to practice self-love, like going on solo dates, seeing my friends as usual, doing my goals, like my personal goals, working out, business goals, all of these things, like continuing to do those things. And so that is what I did. And it's funny because that is when everything changed. When I stopped doing the actions that I thought I needed to do, that is when my soulmate, my fiance, entered my life. And it's so true what they say, like when you surrender and you like leave it up to God, that's when God will give you your person. Like that's when God is like, okay, you're ready now, here he is. I didn't even have to do the searching. I didn't have to go find him. He just entered my life. And that is how easy it gets to be for you if you just surrender. The other thing that I learned in my single era when it comes to this is that action is not necessarily just like going on dates or going out all the time so that you meet your person. It's also inner work. Inner work is also action that is essential and also counts, like journaling, like self-development, learning more about what it is that you want, and really having that solitude time to dive deep on that and dive into your self-growth. And so this is so important to me that I wanted to create a course. I don't even want to call it a course because it's essentially daily lessons that you can go through daily, and it's not like intensive homework, but it touches upon a